done. So I haven't done this element here to start off with. So I'm just going to come along and I'm going to just snip around this particular item. Just making sure that I am capturing everything. And then I'm going to come back to Fusion and I'm going to start a new design. And I'm going to insert a canvas. So I'm going to go canvas and I'm going to upload it from my computer. And I'm going to get the screenshot I just did. And I'm placing it on this plane here because I want it to be at the front. And I know quite often when I bring in drawings that they might need to be flipped. So you can see if I zoom in on this that the text is in the right direction. So I'm just going to flip that text and then I'm going to hit OK. Just going to have a look at that from the front. So that's just come in at some random size. So what we need to do now, we need to come through and we need to right click and calibrate our drawing here. And we know that this internal circle here, from the first point from here out to the outside, it's 8.5 millimeters. And then I hit enter. So this has now been calibrated or sized to be accurately 8.5 millimeters. So if I come along and start my new sketch, I can start to put my circles. I'm going to sketching on this plane here. So I'm just going to start by putting some circles in the center. And you're best to zoom in on these diagrams, but it gives us a really accurate way of going through and drawing. So I'm just going to go 8.5, enter. Go circle again. This one here, if a dimension's not, if it's not put in twice as, like if the dimension's not listed twice, we can assume that they're both 8.5. And this little one down here looks smaller than 8.5, so we might need to just zoom in. We'll just bring that out, and we're going to make that 5. So we can make some little assumptions about that. The next thing we're going to do is put a bigger circle on here. And we're just going to bring it out. And we're going to make that 30. So we're going to stick to round numbers. And this one here as well. So another circle. And we're going to make that one 30. And then I'm going to get a line from this point. Just going to connect onto the side of this, and I can bring this past that point, but just trying to keep it in line with. So finished, choose line again. I'm going to go from the outside point here, and you can bring it past that point. Go okay. I'm going to do the same thing from this end. So from this point, bringing it past, but keeping it in line with. So this is just a really quick way that we can go through and replicate a drawing. But I guess the key thing that I'd like you to be learning about is using Fusion and using canvases as a quick way to reproduce things. So I'm just going to come along. I'm going to trim off the parts that I don't need. So trim. And even this part here, we're not going to need that. So trimming those parts off. Now we might soften these corners just a little bit. So we're going to come along to the fillet tool and just clicking on that intersection there. And I'm just going to start with 30 degrees. It looks like it needs a little bit more. Oops, that's too much. 40 degrees actually looks pretty good there. And we'll do the same for this one at 40 degrees. I think that looks pretty good for what it is. And then we can go to finish sketch. We can then hide our canvas. We can extrude this piece of material. Actually, on the canvas here, I think this is 12 millimeters thick, but we can refer back to the plan just to see how thick it's going to be. It says 13 millimeters thick here. So we're going to make that 13 millimeters thick, and we can just hit OK. You can change the material properties. Select whatever type of material you want to be saying that you're using, some kind of wood. And then it's important that we come along File. I've got it saving into my folder of forklift. If you haven't already set up a new project, or sorry, a new folder, you might want to do that. And I'm just going to call this the bent arm. We'll see if we can come up with a better name. So that's now been saved. And then you can go through and we can turn this into a drawing. So same as what we've done before, creating the drawing. So we're actually going to do this for each one of the parts, but this is probably a good part to start on. And we can just place that on the page. Same as last time. So just coming back to our home page here. So you can start to see that I'm starting to develop all of the different parts.